Sara Akbar, Chairperson and CEO of OiLSERV Kuwait and non-executive director at Petrofac. Sara, one of the things we've been trying to sort of get a understanding of in order to sort of then get a sense of maybe where it'll go next is why is OPEC plus Saudi Arabia increasing oil supply into a global economy that's weakening, where demand appears to be dropping and revising downward. What are your thoughts on the OPEC plus decision to raise supply, accelerate the raise in supply? Of course, Kuwait is part of that.
Yes, correct. Good morning, Sean. It's
Good
nice
morning.
to be back.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Lovely to have you.
yep. So, I think the oil price, the level of oil price that the US wants or demands is like $55. And to get to 55, we need to add more production into the market. So I think it's not driven by increase or growth in demand. I don't know if it is market share. There is huge pressure within OPEC to get their market share and to produce. You know, some of the OPEC members have been cheating. They've been adding more production to the market. But I don't think that's the driver. The main driver here is trying to achieve the target price that's set or that is wished by the US. And preparation for next week, probably the meetings, Trump's meeting in the region. So, um, logically speaking, there is no reason to put more oil into the market when you have the oil price, the trajectory is going down, and there is really no seen growth looking at the status of the world and the world economy.
So
But
you're not buying the argument, or that seems to be the dominant reason, at least that's being announced in the media, that it's because Saudi Arabia and wants to police those countries within OPEC plus that are not living up to their quotas, that it's a punishment exercise for those countries. That's not the reason. You think it's more about the geopolitical win of pleasing America.
this is not how OPEC operates. They don't punish people within OPEC, and they don't. It's a collective, and they act in the best interest of all. But what is obvious now is that this direction is driven by geopolitical demands for lower oil price. Because if you think about it, even when after the 100 days, there was few institutions that made surveys into the market, the US, to see how people were thinking about the 100 days. And, the second most heard comment was, oh, we are happy because the oil prices, the gas prices are down in the US, and this is what Trump promised, and he's achieved it. So that's a big driver, and I believe that's the main element here.
We've seen in the US, as you mentioned yourself, the general narrative very well receiving. Every president, every US administration wants a lower gasoline price at the pump, but also the impact we're seeing on shale oil production at below $60 on WTI. Now it has been below 60 for some time now. We're starting to see US oil production being shut in, and we're going to see a year, most forecasting now, that prices or production won't just plateau in the US this year, it'll actually decline under these lower price structures. What impact will the lower price structures have on the Gulf? I know we have a lower production cost here, but nonetheless, there is a lot of money being spent on increasing capacity. So where does that impact, do you think, if we're now in a cycle in which we're going to have lower price for a while? You're obviously in the oil services business.
Well, typically the oil service business is the one that suffers most and they are the last to recover as well. So I think the oil service sector has not even recovered from the last shock. So, but anyhow, so So in the GCC and mostly, in the oil exporting countries, they cannot afford to change their programs on the short term. They always work on the longer term. So that's why whatever commitments they have made already trying to develop production will continue to happen. It's not going to slow down. There are a few countries that you will see the shock will drive them into lower investment. For example, Iraq. I don't think Iraq can continue with the current program they have if they don't get additional share from OPEC or, some kind of better pricing. They are fully 100% almost reliant on the oil revenue for everything else in the country. And, so they cannot do that and develop oil. So there is no cushion in Iraq. But typically in the other GCC countries, you will see that you will not see much change in the programs. They will just continue as normal. As you are absolutely correct, in the US, there are two things. The people are happy because of the gas price, but then the companies, the independents are very, very unhappy because their margins is really squeezed, and a lot of them, they will not make the kind of profits they were thinking about. They completely supported the administration and Trump, and I think they would want to see a better oil price than 55. So the next 2 weeks, I think many things will change. For example, if Iran comes into, there is an agreement with Iran, this will drive the oil prices even lower. If there is an agreement with China, this will mean that, there will be a better economic development worldwide, which drives the prices up. And typically, when you have this type of environment, people try to, store oil, and you will see that many of these reserves will be filled now under these oil prices. So these are the kind of elements that, if you put them together, will give you a more stabilized vision. But like I said, I think, in this kind of world that we are living in, you plan by the day. You don't know what will happen tomorrow morning, and genuinely, you do it day by day.
Sarah, just picking up on that, Trump's coming to the region at a time when things in Gaza really couldn't be worse than the 2.5 years of this thing. It's in the worst it's ever been. We're on the borderline of famine now, as well as, I mean, just all of it is beyond comprehension. But so he's arriving in a region in which that is there. I'm just wondering, what do you think is the main point of this visit? What should we expect comes out of it? Does anything change? Does he? Where do you think it goes?
I mean, that's the toughest question. Come on, Sean. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
yeah,
I mean, from
yeah,
the
no,
point of
I mean,
from the point of view of what does the region get out of a visit from the president, it does seem like he's coming at a time when, on the positive side, that all of the countries around the Gulf seem to be on one side, in the sense that nobody's looking for the US to start any further conflicts in the region.
yes. So we hope that some conflicts will be put to bed. For example, this issue with Iran, that's a big thing for the Gulf, for example, because we really don't want to see a war with Iran. It will be destructive to everyone here. So that's one important factor in this. So if we can deter this in any way, then I think at the same time, we'd like, I mean, the Gulf would like to see a friendly, contained Iran as well, because we don't want these proxy wars everywhere and so on. So that will be a big thing, a big part of the discussion. And the other part is, I think, what Trump is hoping is that to push this agenda of neutralizing the relationships with Israel. But with Gaza being there in this condition, that's a very big no-no to this discussion. But even during all his speeches about the region, changing Gaza, buying Gaza, I don't know what he wants to do with Gaza. So there will be some pressure on this relation, Iraq and the Arab GCC, Israeli relationships. And there might be some compromise for Gaza that gives lives to Gaza and to the Gazan people. And if the GCC, all of them play their cards right and then properly, then I think that this kind of relationships, you know, to 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 give Gaza some kind of status, keep the Palestinian people, give them life for you know, some kind of diplomatic relationship or what kind of relationship with Israel. That would be part of the discussion. And I think the third part is how much money he can extract from this region for whatever projects in the US. And they were talking about few trillions here and there. So that is the third element into this. And, you know, they already committed, you know, I think the Saudis want to invest about $1 trillion, and then, you know, the Qataris, the Kuwaitis, the UAEs. So, I mean, few trillions to be invested in the US in various manufacturing and data and technology and whatever. So that would be, I think that will be his highlight. Oh, we got this much money from the region to be invested in the US, and that's what he will be bragging about.